on behalf of all faculty members, staff members, students, and the entire I Am Rohtak community, I extend a warm welcome to His Holiness Dalai Lama. Sir, it's indeed a great honor and a privilege to have you and host you in our community and to talk about a very important topic of facing challenges through passion and wisdom. As all of us know, in the last decade, we have found ourselves in more strife than ever before in our life. On one end, we have multiple facilities, challenges, comforts available to us, and yet we face challenges of time, challenges of having quality discussions, challenges of having better quality of life. I do not know whether technological innovations, mobile communication and computing devices have made our lives better or worse. In addition, at a global level, conflict between countries, conflict between people has only grown. And at the same time, the 180-degree, there is a great degree of sense of entitlement and feeling of victimhood on rise. So while we have a section of society which is deprived and is suffering, is conflicted, and is facing strife, there is another section of society which has all the comforts available to them and yet are feeling a sense of victimization. This conflict in society where the underprivileged, the suffering, the people who have deprivation do not see any high level of compassion or tolerance or some comfort. On the other hand, we have people who are living comfortable lives and yet have a sense of entitlement, and this is a dilemma that we are experiencing today. I hope and pray that through the words of His Holiness, we would be able to enrich our lives. If not, at least we would be able to ameliorate ourselves. If not, we will at least start thinking differently about the way we see the world. I would like to welcome again His Holiness to our community. We're really delighted and honored, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you on behalf of all our faculty, students, staff, and community members. Welcome, sir.
So indeed, I'm extremely happy having this opportunity to talk my Indian friend. India two most populated nation, China, India. Now India, 1,000 years, your tradition of ahimsa with karuna. So one, or say the sufficient reason, we can see India, this country, all major religious traditions live together. The concept of non-violence. All major religious traditions live together here. So India's 1,000-year-old and the tolerant ahimsa and karuna. So now you already have the tradition or even practice. The religious tolerance very much exists here. Sometimes few people create some problem. That's understandable. But basically, this country, 1,000-year-old tradition on the basis of ahimsa, religious harmony, very good, very good. So now, last few decades, few decades, India is my home. I really impressed India, people of India, including religious leader, 1,000-year-old your tradition, ahimsa, still very much alive, kept. So I always telling people, religious harmony possible. India is example. All major world institutions live together. Among the scholars, some philosophical views, some more complicated sort of matter, some the scholar level, some debate over 1,000 years. But basically, among the people from different religious traditions, no problem. So I believe India can make significant contribution on this planet, religious harmony. And then, since I came here, one way as a refugee, one way the guest of Indian government, I very much impressed religious harmony. When I talk religious harmony, I always mention India is example, living example. So now, now India, modern India, in education field, people too much emphasis materialistic life, and science and these things. Now we must pay more attention in education. 1,000-year-old tradition, ahimsa, karuna, on a secular basis. The Indian school, university, I hope must pay more attention. 1,000-year-old India's tradition. Now, these should be living tradition. And I always say, the previous century, Mahatma Gandhi ji start ahimsa. He practiced ahimsa in a freedom struggle. Then later, many people in South Africa and also many countries really follow Mahatma Gandhiji's non-violent struggle. Now, time come, since world lacking moral principle, India have the potential to offer world karuna. Ahimsa, Mahatma Gandhiji's propagate. Now, on top of that, modern India should pay more attention about karuna. Firstly, in our own younger generation, among the students, strictly secular way, nothing to do with religion, but warm-heartedness. Religion, irrespective, whether believer or non-believer, believe this religion, that religion. Since we are all human beings, we all come from our mother, we all grown up with mother's affection. That is basic human nature. So therefore, now in Indian education, pay some attention about karuna, not based on religion, but simply human nature. And we can see through centuries, a lot of world problem of fighting, and spend a lot of money making weapon. These are materialistic sort of thinking. Now, India, we should revive our own 1,000-year-old tradition, ahimsa, karuna. So in education, we should, I often use it telling the modern Indian education should combine modern education, including science, and 1,000-year-old your own tradition, karuna, ahimsa. This, you see, India have potential to combine these two things. So as now India, my home, I notice India still have this potential. Now should make effort. I'm going. I'm thinking. Next my visit Delhi, I'm going to thinking meeting some professors of Jawaharlal Nehru University, so on. I'm going to discuss how to combine modern education, knowledge, including science, these things, and then India's moral principle, ahimsa, karuna. So, while I, as a refugee, as I already mentioned, as a guest of Indian government, I really see great potential of India's tradition. Ahimsa combined karuna. Now, last, you see, few decades, I have many opportunity to discuss with brain specialists or scientists. They really appreciate loving kindness. That really create mental, the brain, some special sort of way. Often you see anger, fear, very bad for our brain. So, number of scientists now really showing interest how to keep peace of mind. That really affect our body, our society. And in order to build peaceful world, happy world, the weapon, mere knowledge, I say, no effect. Really, karuna. That also, you see, human nature, we are more compassionate animal, not like tiger, other animal. We human being, by nature, more compassionate. So, as I mentioned earlier, India can combine ancient Indian knowledge, karuna, and modern education, combine these two things in modern way, secular way. So now some questions.
We have lots of questions. We'll follow in order. A lot of people want to ask His Holiness so many questions. We can, I think you have mentioned something very important about science and technology. You know, we often talk about scientific temper, that students in an educational institution must have scientific temper. However, many of the old institutions of education had religious spaces. If you would see the first few universities in India, in Nalanda and Takshila, the pursuit of God itself was good enough reason for studying something. They were pursuing God. There were theological studies as part. But in recent times, people feel that if you are scientific, you cannot be religious. This divorce between science and religion is very conflicting. Can science and religion go together?
As I already mentioned, this country all world religion exist here. So we kept essence of all religion. That's karuna. In philosophical field, there are different views. That is a method to keep karuna. In some cases, the religious belief is helping to strengthen karuna. But you see, religion is religion. Now, India, we already have the concept of secular without touching religion. So, religion should be a method to further promote karuna. Sometimes, instead of that, religion bring the concept of we and they and conflict. That's quite sad. Now we should
Yes, Holiness, we lost sound completely on this side.
now India
Yes.
religious belief very strong and religious harmony already there. Now we should pay more attention in our education field about essence of dharma, karuna, compassion, universal compassion. Otherwise, you see, we already have these things.
Thank you, His Holiness. Our next question is from our Dean Academic.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We find new generation has a sense of entitlement as they are generation of resources. My question is it wise to be continuously demanding from everyone?
Now, you see, extreme desire, and I want this, I want that. That's, I think, due to short-sighted. We should think about world and our aim, our goal, a peaceful world. In order to create a peaceful world, we must pay more attention about karuna. So peaceful karuna, peaceful world with karuna. These are the short-sighted. I think we can reduce this without proper reason, too much desire. I want this, I want that. These are short-sighted. I feel like that. Okay.
I think this is a very interesting thought. I think it is probably useful to focus on things that you don't need than things that you need. It is a wonderful thing. I think if people start thinking about what they can give up rather than what they want, I think it will be a fantastic world, and there can be more karuna and more compassion. Giving up, I think, is probably something for our new generation to consider. So, our next question is from Professor S.K. Pandey, who is our Dean Research.
Okay. Oh, as I already mentioned, we too much materialistic thinking and short-sighted, not deeper level. So India's the 1,000-year-old tradition, Karuna, Ahimsa, is actually part of human nature. We human beings, from mother, the beginning of our life, full of compassion. So now that should pay more attention. And as now already mentioned, now a number of scientists also now believe peace of mind is very important for individual, for community, for nation, even the whole world. So now, more compassionate mind, as I already mentioned, in education field, we should pay more attention about Karuna as a religion, but for our health, for happy society, happy family, ultimately peaceful world, compassionate world. I think we can do through education, not through religion. Simply, we are human, this world, we human beings world. So, the very purpose of we human being, not killing each other, we should have more sense of community, sense of oneness of human being. I totally committed. I am trying to promote the sense of oneness of 7 billion human beings. This world, we have to live together. So different nationality, different color, different religion, these are secondary. Mostly important, we human being, we should live happily, peacefully. Then religion is the personal matter. Okay? Thank you. Yes, as I already mentioned, you see, in materialistic life, and I think I may say the education has come from the West. The West, they believe God, so we all creation of God. So animals for human consumption, almost that kind of thinking. That's their habit. But now in India, we have something different view. All living being, including animal, insect, we always avoid, not kill, not kill. So basically, India already have 1,000-year-old tradition of karuna, ahimsa. This very relevant today's world. As I mentioned, in order to develop happy world, peaceful world, India's 1,000-year-old tradition, karuna, ahimsa, these two things are very important. Okay, now next.
Unmute your computer, please.
I think we human being in certain period we too much pay material, technology, these things. Now gradually we realize inner peace is very important. So therefore, now, according our reality, things are now changing. Now there is real hope. We really can develop peaceful world, compassionate world. That I believe.
Table, everybody's on the mobile phones. What is the future of human interaction in such a situation? Everybody is continuously using mobile, continuously on the phone, having interactions through the phone, without even looking at the other person. Where do you see our world going with all of this?
Yes, I think in past we just thinking about material value. And then too much competition, these things come. Now gradually people realize inner peace very important and oneness of 7 billion human beings. We have to live together on this planet. So, we 7 billion human beings, we have to live together on this small planet and harmoniously, peacefully. If we think realistic way, that's the only way. So I think things are changing. Things are changing. Now, in recent years, people too much emphasis their own nationality or their own country. Now things are changing. Things are changing. One example, former Soviet Union, gradually now changing. And most of these Southeast Asian nations. In the past, you see, too much fighting. Now things are changing. One example, now People's Republic of China and Taiwan. Now things are, you see, it is, what's it, unrealistic keep, or what's it, attitude as an enemy is outdated. Now we should, I myself, you see, since many years, I committed middle wave approach with Tibetan and the People's Republic of China. We have to live together. So no use to fight, kill. So now basically we really need, in order to create happy world, we should develop oneness of 7 billion human beings and a peaceful world. That's our aim. Okay.
Yes, sir. Prachi Kumar, our MBA student, has a question for you, sir.
Hello, Your Holiness. My question is that in the times of increasing competition and a continuous race to the top, do you think that compassion and desire for material success can coexist at the organizational level?
As I mentioned already, in previous our generation is too much thinking about materialistic life. Now gradually more and more people paying more attention about inner peace. And basically thinking peaceful world. Now climate condition, that also telling us we should take care about climate as a one human community. The climate, whole world facing. So different nation, different country, different continent is secondary. Important is basic human life, human happiness. So now the reality really much changed than previous sort of situation. So therefore, I'm really hopeful with this reality. Now we should pay more attention about oneness of human being, and we should be more compassionate human society through education, strictly secular way. Okay. So India have the great potential to make a significant contribution and example in the eyes of humanity. Okay.
So the next question is from our BBMBA integrated program, Narsan Boro.
Thank you, sir. So my question to Your Holiness is, there is an increasing conflict between people at personal and organizational level. How do you think people learn to accommodate and reduce conflict?
Actually, as I mentioned, in the past, now, for example, First World War, Second World War, like that. And then gradually, United Nations developed. And then particularly, European Union, you see, developed. According to reality, now we have to live together. So much better, peaceful way. So I really admire the European Union and Adana and de Gaulle. Previously, France, Germany were arch enemy, but new circumstances, they develop this European Union. Wonderful. So now, Latin America and Africa now should think more union. Just one's own nation, one's own continent. The reality, not isolated, everything interdependent. So now we really need sense of oneness of humanity. So now people, as I mentioned earlier, European Union, one example, and then United Nations also, you see, one example. So I always optimistic, and on top of was the global problem. You see the sense of oneness, and we have to live together. You see that more realistic thinking. So I more optimistic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. The next question is from one of our staff members, Guneet Sethi.
Thank you, sir. Your Holiness, my question to you is, how important is the role of workshops and seminars for mental fitness and cordial relations in the work organization to ensure harmony and coordination among the workforce?
Now, as I already mentioned, education, wider perspective, and realistic long-term interest. So, beside school and people, from time to time, you see, discuss. And also, I think media have special role to promote basic human value, not thinking my nation, my country. Now things are changing. So I'm quite hopeful. Now things are, because of the reality, you see, we have to think more broad way, not narrow-minded thinking. My nation, my community. And like a political party, my party. You see, too much thought, small thinking. So these, I think, now the reality tell us now we have to think broad way, and ultimately we should build happy one world, happy humanity. Okay.
So now our student from our law program, Ridhima Singh.
Thank you, sir. My question to Your Holiness is, Westerners say survival of the fittest is the norm of the society. Does that mean that there is no room for weak and underprivileged?
Oh, Darwin belongs old generation. So they are thinking according their times sort of the situation. Now, since Darwin come, things much change. So now time come, we have to think oneness of all 7 billion human beings. We have to live together happily without any fighting, competition. That's my belief. Okay.
So it is so, today this conflict continues to persist. Even in educational institutions, we say work hard, the fittest, the best. There is very little room for, in that sense, all sorts of people. Even from a global sense, if we see cities, even cities have started looking identical. They will all have a downtown, they'll all have a city hall or sort of a thing. There is a greater degree of this forced identical, everybody is expected to behave in a particular manner. This is really reducing, in my view, diversity, the diverseness of the universe, sir. How do we overcome this?
As I already mentioned, now according to reality, we have to think about community, about continent, no longer thinking my own country, my own community. So now according the reality, we have to think more broad way, not narrow-minded. So the sense of competition among ourselves, these are, you see, according the particular circumstances. Now that circumstances already, you see, changed. So now we have to think, as I mentioned earlier, oneness of all 7 billion human beings. We have to live together. And our aim, we should pray, we should try to create happy world, one world. Happy one world. Okay.
So next question is from Siraj Gandhi, our MBA student.
Thank you, sir. My question to Your Holiness is, what do you think is the impact of COVID-19 on organizations, talking about the ethicality of employees? While some organizations are very compassionate, others were acting like scavengers. How does one deal with such dichotomy in society?
In human history, you see, people thinking more broad way, but at the same time, some smaller group of people always think their own short-sighted interest. So now, today also, some small number who just think themselves. Now, as I already mentioned, and media are very important role. Things, I think, some human being who live another satellite or world after a few decades come back here, they certainly notice much change. Our thinking, much change, much broad, helping each other. That's I believe. So now this illness, doctors, nurses, and various sort of organization really taking care. Wonderful. So sometimes, you see, our life, everything go well, then we just relax. When things more serious, then thinking more serious. So this illness also now bring us to think more serious and combine like that. Okay.
Yes. So next question is Chelsea. Chelsea Moria, our integrated program student. Chelsea.
Thank you, sir. My question to Your Holiness is, personal ethics influence how a person will act in an organization. The culture of an organization is strongly affected by the people who are in a position to establish its ethical values. Can you please share your views on this?
Now, as I already mentioned, you see, last, few decades, I think our thinking much changed. So now thinking for common interest is really much grow. Although in the past, the very idea of socialism, all these thinking about people, as I already mentioned, now even nation thinking oneness, so European Union, things like that. So these are really hopeful signs.
His Holiness, proud that you said in the beginning that you've been here in India for so many decades and you call yourself son of India. We're really proud of that. Even though you were born in Tibet, you call yourself son of India. Why is it that you call yourself son of India? We're so proud of it, but we want to hear it from you as to why do you call yourself son of India?
I think comparison, broadly speaking, I think much change. we human being,
the son of India, the son of India the
son of India, Jawagi, Sevo in Sonia, Kimzen Karin, Grants of the Sononas. Jawam Chinam,
son of India.
Oh. Yes, now, I born in Tibet. Tibetan culture, very much based on Buddhism, particularly the Nalanda tradition. So, from my childhood, I study important texts, all wrote by Indian master. So then, due to political difficulties, I become a refugee here. I'm the guest of Indian government. I really enjoy India's freedom, India's religious harmony, as I already mentioned. So I really feel proud to say I'm Indian. So, and then, as I mentioned earlier, I'm longest guest of Indian government. Now I stay here as a guest of Indian government. And meantime, you see, I deeply feel I'm culturally, through many reasons, I really feel I'm Indian. Okay.
We're honored, sir. We're really honored that you consider, being son of India. Just last two questions, sir. The second last question to you, sir, from our institution, and I think from everybody who is listening, is on human care for non-humans. I mean, a very traditional system. We in India even took care of birds. In COVID time, there were people who were putting seeds out to birds because there was lockdown, people couldn't go out. That's a typical, but however, we are seeing less and less in the world. How do you think India can lead the way in teaching the world that it's not just about the human race, it's about everybody, which includes animals, plants, everybody. What is your message for them?
거기서
나서 내양디 디즈링간라 때미망고지 7월 줘야 다 디즈 까브라 디니 카베나라 데기 대신배가는 심진 자단 저우다 딘데 지선제 칼라테 데망고지 야나라 충분히스 디인등만 주다시 미지게 디zambal라 미직부터나라 삼다는 거 심진 신게 삼다에 제거가 야다지 개업신을 미비 된다로지 컨텐츠 제도지 고는 세지.
I already mentioned many people, I think including scientists, in the past, just thinking was short-sighted. Then, you see, they consider India something backward. Now that way of thinking much changed. India's civilization is really impressive, particularly the science about mind, these things. So including scientists, now more and more scientists pay more attention about inner value. So that's India's tradition. So now, in the past, just materialistic sort of thinking. Now there much change. Thinking about mind, thinking about emotion. In that respect, India's culture really showing great significance and great potential. Okay.
So our last question, if you have any message to encourage, motivate our young Indian students, any message for them, how they can improve their lives, live life better?
As I mentioned earlier, China, India, two most populated nation, and then this country, whole these centuries, genuinely democratic sort of country, and religious freedom. So now more and more people really show interest about Indian culture. So I really feel the now younger generation of India now should think of these events last a few decades and should feel proud. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. We are really honored, delighted, and blessed to have your kind presence. I will request you, sir, to bless us all, because your blessings will probably go a long way in enriching our lives and the way we think. His Holiness, it's been a wonderful interaction. We have learned so much. You have emphasized so many important messages for us, for the humanity. You have mentioned how India can show the way to rest of the world to live in harmony, to have a leadership role in the two important concepts of our thousands and thousands of years of history of ahimsa and karuna. Ahimsa and karuna together in our culture can possibly show the world a way of accommodation, a way of consideration, a way of compassion. You gave such wonderful example of European Union where Germany and France could not see each other eye to eye, and today they are friends. Change in attitude of people, I think, is one of the best ways that you have mentioned. If you change your attitude, you can change the direction of the life, and you can reduce conflict, and you can all live together. You've also mentioned such beautiful things about consideration for other individuals, not just themselves, but for the environment, but for other non-human beings, for everybody on this planet to coexist. And survival of fittest is probably an old way, as you have mentioned. Now it is to accommodate everybody, to consider everybody, to take everybody along and be a pluralistic, a very compassionate society. Thank you, sir. We all at I Am Rohtak pay our humble respects to your divine presence. I also thank the organizing team all I Am Rohtak community and thousands of people who are joining us today all across the world, listening to us. We're really grateful, sir. We're thankful. We seek your blessings. Thank you very much. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I really feel great honor, you see, to talk with Indian friends. As I already mentioned, I consider I'm son of India. Now mentally, I'm son of India, no question. Now physically also, I'm son of India. So I really extremely happy have exchange Indian brothers, sisters. I really appreciate. Thank you. That's her.